Hello, testing the mic. Check, check. Looking good. Alright. Hello, I'm going to switch over my camera right now. Nice. Alright. Hello, you guys. Another wonderful Wednesday. This is the beginning of June, so that is something crazy. Absolute craziness. And with that, I guess, yeah, we're entering summer. Hi, Hololive, how are you? Hopefully not too hot. Hopefully not too many bugs where you're at. There's a lot where I am at right now. Hello, Cannon. Why are you crying? What's wrong? What happened? You're doing okay. That's good. Okay is better than not okay, but I hope that it gets even better for you. Missed 2 streams. Oof. Yeah, you are behind at this point. You missed the bulk. So you gotta check my VODs. Although, I don't know if I have the most recent one uploaded yet. I think I have through whatever number I'm on now. 28, I don't know. We have some insane amount of like numbers in this stream at this point. Well, you can catch up now because most of what we're doing is gonna be like what we've been doing. So with that, I guess I'll show you guys the faces so far. I did do a little bit more work on them just because I wanted to make sure that I was happy with the color that I mixed, and so we still need to do some cleanup on them, which is what I'll be doing tonight. But she has olive eyes now, so I decided to go with some green. We'll see how this kind of develops. Let's see if I can get this together. There we go. Maybe. Come on, camera. There we go. Yeah, so she's got some green in there now. I worked on the right eye for both of these face plates just to kind of get the position of where I wanted the screen to be. Here's the other one. So this is what it's looking like. Oh, come on. This is what it's looking like right now. Did decide, you know, I was thinking about using orange eyes, and then I did a mock-up on my phone, which let me show you real quick. Thanks, guys. Yeah, she's getting there. Yeah, so I basically just did like something like this really quick on my phone. I took a photo after we put down that yellow layer, and then I just kind of like scribbled over it. So this is kind of where we're going with this. This is again a really like rough guide, but we'll see how it develops. I did use this color, so I mixed this green color to do that. Hi, Raider. Yeah, and this one she looks surprised. She also has no eyebrows yet. So like in this photo, there's no eyebrows. There's just like the eyelash line or whatever that I added, you know, with my finger real quick. So we'll probably work on that today too. But yeah, so I mixed this kind of olivey green color, a little bit candy apple-ish, which would be really cute. And I basically did it with these 3 colors. For those of you in like the couple figure servers I'm in, I was talking about 50-cent test stores paints, which I found. Let me see if I can get this to focus first. It's kind of all over the place. Whoa. Yeah, so I was talking about how I found these great deal on Testors enamels for like 50 cents. And usually I don't use this brand. I don't use Testors. I don't really like it too much, but you know, 50 cents. And so I wanted to try them out. And I thought, oh, you know, it'd be a really great color for this kit. So I kind of bought it just for that. But I did mix this green with some yellow and some white. So, you know, brands can mix. You can mix Testors with Gaia Notes. You can mix, you know, all of these with Tamiya enamels. They're all kind of the same oil-based stuff. So all of these together basically made this. And so I will be cleaning up this color from these eyes today. So I did again work on this one already. You can see it's a little bit cleaned up, but this one still needs some work. You know, like this yellow here isn't really smooth, and the eyes kind of like, the green is bleeding over, so we're gonna keep working on that today. Hello, Curry. Yeah, same with this one. We're gonna finish up the green on this eye, and then we will probably work on the shoes. I did mess with the shoes a little bit, so I started cleaning these shoes up, but they still have some enamel that I need to wipe up to really get them looking clean. So we'll try to do that as well. And then if time permits, there's a couple other really small things that I wanted to do on this, like try to add the eyelash or the eyelid on this. Oh yeah, I also added some slight orangey, you know, pinky paint to paint her mouth. So it's pretty subtle. I didn't want anything too like glaringly pink. Just a really sweet little mouth that you can see. So, well, to be determined if I do anything else with that, but I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. So I'm just gonna jump right in. I'm gonna be working on the left eye for both of these, because again, I got the right one pretty much where I want it. We have been following the enamel wiping technique, which is basically I've been top coating these pieces after each layer with a lacquer gloss top coat, and this will be the third layer that we're on now. So this lighter green color, it has 2 layers of enamel on it. This green is the third layer of enamel, and then coats of the lacquer gloss in between. So as always, if you have any questions or just want to chat, please feel free to message in the chat and I will check it and talk with you guys. But we're just gonna kind of be doing the same thing here where I have this face at an angle and I'm gonna be rotating it and cleaning off the green. Lots to do. Beyond this, I'm like not sure what I want to do still with this eye in terms of like sparkling shininess, and if I want to add a big iris or anything else. Not sure yet, so we're just gonna play it by ear. I didn't even know I wanted these eyes olive until like literally today, so we are just doing whatever here. And actually, let me try to move this so the camera isn't super blurry this whole time. Last week we had a really good setup, but this week it's like not wanting to focus. That's pretty decent. Let me know if it's just totally blurry for you guys consistently, because I'm like looking at this figure and not at my stream, you know? And I will like show the piece up close once I get it farther to how I want it. I unfortunately cannot zoom in on the face any more than this Canon without like reaching the limitations of my camera and space. So that's just like how it has had to be. I also don't have like a macro lens or anything, so I can't zoom in anymore. Hey, thanks for the follow, Miker Meme. I like that. We are just working on a anime figure faceplate right now. So I paint garage kits, which are Japanese figures that are unpainted and unassembled. So we're pretty far along in this stream. Followers have watched the whole thing from beginning to end, and so eyes are generally the last step that I do. That would be an incredible birthday present, for real. I've been looking at macro lenses for a while now, and I just like don't have the $600 or whatever to drop on it right away. But I feel like I'm reaching the limitations of like even my photography without getting into a macro, so someday I will. You can get some like really incredible shots with macro stuff, and like honestly, like photography has kind of become my side thing. I'm by no means like a pro photographer or anything at all like that, but I do enjoy learning about it and, you know, exploring options and stuff on my camera, seeing how light manipulates, you know, the figure, that kind of thing. And I guess that's something that kind of approaches into this hobby as well, is that your work will really stand out a lot more if you are able to take good photos of your figure. And I'm not talking about like all the, you know, post-processing and all that, because that's also a separate talent. But just, you know, knowing what makes good lighting, knowing how to take good photos with your camera. Even phone cameras are really great these days. If you're able to do that, yeah, your work will stand out a lot more, because I feel like that personally is where a lot of garage kit artists fall short. And so, you know, they can give their figure off to someone who is good with photography, but a lot of us don't have that option, or, you know, we just don't have the equipment, and so it's difficult to get good photos of your work. But it makes a huge difference, and people will definitely notice if you take the time to have photos taken of your piece. Alright. So I'm just working along the top here. I'm removing a lot of this extra green. This layer I also put pretty thickly on just because I wasn't sure how the testers would act, and it did thin down really well. So I had to put on a few more layers of it because I think I thinned it too much. Very effective when it's thinned. Yeah, I think what we'll do here is once we get all this green layer down, I'll apply another green on top. So a lot of times with these type of chibi figures, or just anime figures in general, I try to at least go for a 3 gradient approach. And so there's no like name for this or anything. This is just something that I do. But if you have, you know, a really bright color on your kit or on your eyes, and then layer that with 2 other colors, generally that's like enough to get you to a point where your figure eyes will really stand out. So what we have here is this kind of lightish yellow color. It's literally just yellow and white, and then we put this olive on top, and then after that I'll probably apply a darker olive color to it to make it that like 3 gradient color. Hey, thank you, Allie. Yeah, we're getting there. Figure's coming together finally. It's starting to look like something. I know I keep saying that, but she really is. And let's see, for the big questions, no monkey, surprisingly no. I have seen a lot of chatter about some of these friends and all our people in the US buying up stuff. But no, I have not purchased anything today from Japan through EMS. I'm probably gonna wait a little bit until they start to, you know, get some of that backlog out, just because everything's swamped right now, and like a lot of figure websites, they have, you know, huge backlogs, and people have been waiting forever to get their stuff shipped, so all that's got to go through. I do need to check Mandarake though and see if they have opened up EMS, because there was 1 or 2 kits that I just, you know, was casually looking at that I was like, oh, maybe I'll just impulse buy these. They're not too expensive, but at the same time, I really don't need more stuff. So not having EMS was a great way for me to just be like, not worth it, you know, not worth the impulse buy. And I've also basically had stopped looking at auction sites for like this past year while everything was closed, with the exception of like, you know, a few really grail search terms that I would check every so often. But now that EMS is back up, it's danger zone. Everything is not off limits. Alright, working kind of in the corner now. What we really want to do is get this corner rounded down. And since we do have this yellow layer already on it, kind of like what I was saying when we have white, if we wipe off too much of the eye, we will be able to see that yellow layer, and that means that, you know, I've wiped off too much green. So doing this layer by layer is a great way to, you know, be able to tell if you've gone too far or if you still need to paint more, etc. And this is just how I do it. I'm always working on my style and trying to change things up, but I've gotten pretty comfortable lately using like the layer by layer method. Really do need to shake that up because sometimes I just add too many layers and then it all gets kind of muddled. Okay. What size brush? This doesn't have an official size. This is a Tamiya modeling brush, but you can see here that this point is basically, you know, non-existent. It's very small. And I've been using this brush a lot lately for really, really small garage kits. I honestly could not even tell you approximately like what size that would be in an art, you know, setting. It's definitely smaller than any of my other smallest brushes that I can, you know, name. Yep, micro brush. But I really like this brush, you know, with the short bristles because I do a lot of really short strokes. That's just kind of how I learned to paint and how I work on my kits personally. So not having a lot of, you know, area on these bristles allow me to get in and just almost as if you're drawing lines. A lot of times I just, you know, go this way and try to do it. A lot of times, like I know painters just do one nice, you know, smooth line. I'm not very good at that. You know, I'm more used to like drawing, and so I usually do it like this way. How do I keep the tip so pointed? Honestly, this is just a really well-made brush. What I do try to do is keep a very small bit of solution here and not saturate the tip. And so if you get, and this is a general painting tip, if you get, you know, solution or your brush stuff up into here, you risk having it soak into the bristles at the core, and then the rest of the brush points will splay out. And so I generally only try to put thinner on the very tip of the end of the brush, and that way, like, I'm saving, you know, thinner and also preserving my brush. That's just something that I do, but I absolutely have destroyed brushes in the past. I'm trying to be more careful with, you know, my brushes and not destroy them, because once you enter this kind of like micro, you know, tiny brush realm, they get pretty expensive pretty quickly. Not like too crazy. I think this brush was around $10, so it was like 1,000 yen or so. But even then, like, you don't want to have to be buying new brushes all the time. So try to keep it alive as long as possible. And companies do make brush cleaner, so Tommy has a brush cleaner. I'm sure like Testors Enamel also doubles as a brush cleaner, so that probably helps. So I'm using this Enamel right now. This is just Testors brand because it's what we have access to in the States, but it's an enamel thinner and brush cleaner. So, you know, the fact it's cleaning up and rehydrating your brush is also probably pretty helpful here. And let's see. 4 colors, each one has failed it. Yeah, like I feel like a lot of stuff that I learn is usually just word of mouth or like from other artists. Like school doesn't, you know, sometimes they don't teach you this stuff. And granted, I didn't go to art school or anything, so I can't, you know, tell you how great it was or not. But yeah, I didn't learn that tip until way, way, way later in the game. And so, you know, forever I was just letting brushes sit in solution or messing around with them, and it would just destroy them. I have a whole graveyard, honestly. Like, I've shown my brush cup a couple times, and yeah, a lot of those are not in great shape. And let's see, the lack of EMS has not stopped you from impulse buying. Oh boy, what'd you buy now, Hololai? Hopefully some good stuff. I can't think of anything that I straight up impulse bought recently. I think a lot of it was just planned purchases from like me following people on Twitter and finding out they're gonna put something on booth. To me, that's not like, oh, look at that auction and, you know, bidding on it. I'm really trying to cut down my purchases a lot because I just have so much to build, and I really want to focus on some of these older kits that have been sitting in my closet for a while. So the new stuff's fun, but I also need to work on my old stuff. Let's see, so clean any type of paint. I think, Canon, that this particular brand, the Testers, one, is meant for cleaning up oil-based paint. So I do not think that this one would be great for like cleaning lacquer off your brush, or definitely not putting in your airbrush or anything. So, but it would be good for like oils and stuff. So I don't really use any other like brush cleaner besides this stuff. I don't formally like clean my brushes. I just, let them clean them up in the thinner and then let them sit. There was also a tip last time from a chatter that apparently putting some Vaseline on them will help keep the brushes, rehydrated. But I have not had the chance to try that out, so I cannot say whether or not that's great. Let's see, I have one, two. Yeah, the brushes just, they splay out. And then at that point, they're just junky. Like, I use them for junk stuff. Like, here's one right here. This one's got it used to be a really nice pointy tip, and then I just abused it to hell. And I actually forgot about this brush, so I let it just sit in the cup like this. So bad, I feel so horrible. This brush deserves a better life, but it just didn't get it. Same with this one, still got the olive on it. Like if you can see the tip, oh no. Yeah, pretty rough. So those ones are, reserved for mixing stuff usually, and then after that I let them just do whatever. And the nicer brushes, I try to keep like this one in good shape. Oh yeah, if you're getting that after 3 to 4 uses, you may be like applying too much pressure on your brush. You may be, letting that solution get up into it, all sorts of things. And let's see, Kagamine ring kit, you asked for your mom, and she lost it. Oh geez, okay. And a bird girl. Hey, always the bird girl. Well, those sound really cute. You'll have to share some photos when you get them, or just like a link. And let's see. Thanks, Allie. Yeah, I hope you guys have some fun. Get those figures all boxed up. I'll be around for a while, so we'll just be chatting.
You feel miserable.
And let's see. Master's brush soap. Interesting. Yeah, so I'd have to look that up. If it's good for acrylics, it's probably just like a water-based one that also has some rehydrating properties. The line gets kind of like sticky once, different paint brands are involved, but I'm sure that like if you cleaned off your brush with the enamel, brush cleaner, and then use the master soap to really get it clean, that would probably be fine. Yeah, Canon, I have ruined my fair share of like specialty quote-unquote brushes as well, so don't worry, you're not alone. Many Tamiya ones lost. Really, I just need to be buying more like tiny sizes like this, because I really do use these tiny ones most often for painting kit eyes. I'm adding a little bit more green on the left here just because I wiped off a tiny bit. And I'm going to work now on wiping away some of this green down near the yellow part. Ideally, I want it pretty much exactly the same shape as this eye over here. So we're going to be working on slowly smoothing it out, getting it to a point where it looks the same. So when I do like kind of lob this on, generally I try to get the shape I want roughly, and then there's not too much cleanup needed after that and smoothing everything out. But to be honest, I approach eyes as sisters, not twins. Same for eyebrows. So you know, it's very, very, very difficult by hand painting to get eyes exactly the same. It's just, you know, that's a skill that comes with time. A lot of masters are able to do it, but, you know, even myself, there's a lot of times where my eyes are not perfectly the same, and that's totally okay. So don't beat yourself up about it if you don't get them exact. But I do try to get the shape almost the same. You know, we don't want the yellow on one eye coming all the way up here and then the other one, you know, not very far, because that will make it look kind of weird. I'm gonna add a little bit more green right near the bottom corner where that starts to turn yellow. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for just a tiny bit. Hard angle. Really have to just show this a certain way and then wipe away some of this green. Okay, there's a little more green up on this side as well. So I'm just kind of removing all the green that's sitting on the outline. So our outline was the very first layer that we laid down, but we do still want that layer to be visible, so you can remove any green paint that's on top of it and just kind of get it to fit in that guideline. Oh, just keeps wiping off and just being impatient. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit that I want. There we go. And I'm gonna wipe kind of some of this extra green off her cheek. So again, as you're working on your layers, paint will kind of come up and you gotta make sure that it all gets wiped. Okay, let me lay down a bit more color and then I'll check your link hollow. That way I really do have to sit then. Okay, there we go. You do have to let this stuff dry. Enamel will dry real quick, but even then, if you're getting impatient, it's just gonna wipe away really quickly. All right, let's see. Ooh, that's a cute one, that Reen kit. Was that one on Mandarake? I feel like I saw it there. Oh, that bird kit is cute too. That's definitely not bird that I was thinking of, but I like that one. I am familiar with that sculptor as well. That's a very cute kit. Really great opportunity for painting wings, because those wings are pretty detailed. Oh, and it even comes with like a stalk of like wheat or something. That's crazy. That's really cute. I love it when kits include stuff like that, you know, like flower props or decals or stalks of wheat. Yeah, that's really cute. That Reen is super cute too. Looks like she's part of a pair with Len. but I'm a weak person for chibi kits, so that one's good. You haven't been able to find the girls' art page. Pretty sure I've like added this before. Let me see. Give me 1 second, guys. Now I'm doing what I usually do with my time. Maybe she doesn't have a page. That's surprising. I've definitely seen that kit in passing numerous times. Probably from event coverage or something, and then yeah. Oh, here it is. Yep. Oh my god. Okay. I think it's this one. And embarrassingly, you can see that I edited it 9 years ago. Oh lordy. I was like, I know that looks familiar, but yeah. Definitely a rough draft. There's not a lot of info in there. From the old days of adding kits, so we didn't need a lot back then. People are much more stickler now about number of parts and size and all of that, but back in, oh, I'm looking at the wrong stream. Sorry. Back in like old garage kit adding days, all we really needed was like a date and some info, and that was it. Yeah, that's a super cute one. Yeah, I've also been on my figure collection a long time. I added many of those older entries and or edited them so they weren't like just a, you know, original character situation. So many didn't even have a release date or anything, a festival date. That I guess was kind of the bulk of what I did on my figure collection, was working on garage kit entries and cleaning them up. Almost like all of my early 20s, honestly, were spent doing that. Along with the picture section. Chances are if you were on MFC in the 2010s, I deleted one of your photos. Good times. Nowadays, I'm not on there though. Okay, this is already looking pretty good. Let me get in with my magnifying glass and see. Don't really have any complaints. Tiny bit up here could be smoothed out, but again, we're gonna go in with a darker green, I think, and that way it'll be one more layer and it will cover up stuff. A little more up here. There we go. It has been very helpful to have these eyes be like slightly indented, because it's a lot easier to get these greens and yellows to fit inside the eye outline. Okay, there's a tiny bit more green that could probably be added up here. I wiped it off earlier. Need more. There we go. Okay. can see this paper towel is getting nice and colored at this point. Always my favorite part is when all these colors start to come together and they sit on a paper towel. It's in a way like it's a blend of all of your color schemes. So if you made a really pretty color scheme on your kit, you're gonna have a really pretty color scheme on your paper towel. I always judge my paper towel on how beautiful it is as a measure of how beautiful my kit is. There we go. Just this one side area has too much green. Okay. This side. I'm more or less happy with this at this point. Outlines are looking consistent and the position of the yellow is in pretty much the right place. So here's what we're looking like so far. So you can see the yellow on both of those is pretty much in the same general shape and same size, I guess. So it's more like a little, you know, oblong-y shape at the bottom. And there's definitely different things you can do. You can make it, you know, look circular, you can make it look more elongated, just depends on the style you're going for. Paper towel art gallery, oh yeah, sounds fun. Yeah, I should have saved some of my paper towels, but at the end of it, they just all go in the garbage. Thanks guys, yeah, we're doing a good job so far. So you can see with the hair, she's really starting to stand out. I think with that darker green, it will look very cute. This green, like when I was thinking of green eyes, I was thinking, like not olive green. I might like kind of default to a brighter green or a forest green, but I like how subdued this one is, especially in comparison with the bright orange of her hair. I think if her eyes were brighter, it probably would clash a little bit too much, but this one I'm liking. So I have to look at it again. Usually after I finish, you know, looking at my face, I let it sit for a couple hours and then come back to it. And if I like it after that, then I top coat it. So we're gonna set this to the side for now and just start working on this eye over here. Yeah, this color really worked out. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it continues that way, but so far I'm pretty pleased. So this face is the indented face. So as a, 1 second, let me get it to, there we go. It's kind of a reminder, yeah, the eyes here are indented, so what is happening? Why are you doing this, camera-ish? Just the shadows are tough here. So yeah, you can see as I turn it, the face is kind of, you know, the eye plates are indented. What I did do is I kind of went in and added more yellow on this one, so the other faceplate didn't have as much of a yellow, you know, area on it, but I want it to be a little bigger on this one. I wasn't intending for both these eyes to be identical anyway, because it does have a different style, so we're just gonna kind of follow a slightly different style, but same eye color in this faceplate. So I did finish the one on the left, and so what I'm gonna do is just start cleaning out this other one, and again, try to get that yellow shape to look the same as this eye on the left here. In this face, there's not quite as much to clean, but we will also have to go in again with that kind of oblong shape in the center here and clean that up. That will take a little time. I was having not a difficult time, but trying to figure out how I want this yellow to look, because it does look pretty different depending on what angle you put this kit at, because the eyes are indented. You're back with tough questions. Oh boy, I will do my best to answer. Always fun. Okay, where do I like to get my pinning rods from? So I actually buy most of my rods these days from my local hobby store. I tend to buy brass rods because I find they're a lot easier to cut and bend compared to steel rods. Back in the day, I used to use a lot of piano wire, so hobby stores will generally carry like steel, piano wires as well as brass wire. And then I just kind of went on to use brass wires. So let me pull two up real quick so you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't want to bend my camera. There we go. Okay, so this is an example of piano wire. You can see it's really long and thin. This is made of steel or some, really tough metal. So it does not cut as easily and it does not bend as easily. If a lot of times when we're pinning garage kits, we're not using a long piece like this. We're using maybe, up to here or here at most. And if you try to bend at that, angle, it's really tough. Like this is tough stuff. And you can manipulate it, with the use of pliers and all of that. But I find that when I try to pin kits with this type of wire, most of the time I'm like, pushing the piece together and bending it. And resin is a lot more likely to bend compared to like this steel rod, right? So I don't use this as much unless, there's something exact that I want in a really tough fit. Hey, Big Cheese Arena, how you doing tonight? We're talking about pinning kits briefly before I go back to painting my face. But this is a steel wire, this is piano wire. I would guess that this is probably around 0.8 millimeters. Yeah, a lot of times this would be the general size that I would buy is 0.8 millimeters. So right around this size actually. But this is a brass one in here. And so the other one that I use from my hobby store is, I guess, brass rods from Precision Metals. They make a lot of them. This is a brand that's available pretty readily in the States if you go to a hobby store. Really cheap for a good pack. This is only $1.69. And they bend a lot easier and they're a lot, more manipulative, I guess, compared to steel ones. So let me just pull it out. Here's my embarrassing bunch of stray. So yeah, here's a brass one. You can see that it does bend. There you go. Well, it was unfortunately blurry, but you can see just with my finger I was able to blend it, or bend it, not blend it. And yeah, so I prefer brass a lot more these days because if I'm fitting pieces, I'm able to bend them. Steel, there's none of that. Like here you can just, do whatever. Love my work. Hey, thanks so much. I really do appreciate that. And you taking the time to step in and, see how things are going here. We're having fun times. Sheesh. Yeah. So yeah, this is generally what I work with, brass wire. For the smaller kits I work with, my most standard sizes are 0.5 millimeter, 0.8 millimeter, and 1/16 inch, which I forgot, I think it's like 1.2 millimeters or something. Definitely over 1. But yeah, those are the most standard sizes that I use. And you can see my cup here is full of random bits. So there are definitely, bigger or smaller sizes that you can use, but I pretty much don't stray from those 3 sizes just because I find they cover most of what I need. For the really, really small stuff, at that point you're entering jewelry wire, territory. So 0.3 millimeter, 0.2 millimeter, that's really, really delicate small wire that you probably are not going to get a really great, great strength on. So a lot of times if I need to pin that smaller stuff like tiny hair pieces or tiny ribbons or something, that's the size I will use. But don't expect those to hold up your kit at all. They're more like tiny accessory bits that you would put on. In terms of like pinning feet and stuff like that, usually I'm going with a 0.8 millimeter wire or the 1/16 inch, depending on the size of the kit. I have really never needed to go larger than that, even for some of these bigger kits. bigger. Like I work pretty small, but even the stuff like the grizzly pandas and the one, I'd say up to like 1/6 scale, I guess, is where I would, you know, cut the line at the 1/16 inch wire, because that's about the max scale that I work with. Most of the time I'm doing like 1/7 scale or below. Hopefully that answers your question. And I'm not sure where you're located and if you're in the US or elsewhere, but any hobby store should carry that brand, the Precision Metals brand. It's a pretty standard one. If not, some hardware stores even carry it. So like Ace Hardware carries that brand. I'm not sure about other ones like Home Depot and Lowe's. I don't think they carry Precision Metals. At least I have never formally gone and checked. I just go to the actual hardware store to like bulk buy sandpaper and lacquer thinner and that kind of stuff. So, and plants. Try to buy like a plant whenever I go. All right, back to working on this eyeball. Also, I do want to mention that stuff like paper clips, those will work as well if you're, you know, pressed for money or time or wire or whatever. I have used those in a pinch, but a lot of times those are much bigger size, right? So you gotta go with like the tiny paper clips if you want that smaller wire size. But they will bend just the same as the brass ones. Let's see, there's a comic figure builder that I follow. He's larger than one. So he likes. Yeah, that would make sense if he's working with, you know, large quarter scale kits or large busts, that sort of thing. Those pieces get so heavy so quickly. So using, you know, a combo of those to pin with magnets will pretty much secure it in place. Here in this hobby, I've, at least for my kits, I've never really needed to use a combination of pin and magnet together. Most of the time it's either or. So I've opted for switching to magnets for a lot of things these days, just because I find that it makes the build process a little bit smoother, and particularly for clients, it's a lot easier to, you know, tell a client to fit two pieces together with a magnet than it is to like fit this pin in at exactly the right, you know, angle and make sure that nothing shows or touches, you know. It's just transporting and assembly is a lot easier when you're using little magnets. So a lot of times I opt for that these days. This kit is kind of unique because we do have a combination of the pins and the magnets. You know, we've got the pin in her neck and then it just kind of magnetizes to her head. So we do have a magnet going on here and it does fit. Well, if I can angle it right, it will fit correctly every single time because we installed that magnet. So that's another thing too, is like wires will bend, you know, smaller wires will bend, probably not the quarter scale stuff. But magnets don't. Like you're gonna get the same fit every time with a magnet, which is nice. Okay, let's see, I've had to go with a leg and a small pin. Oh, magnet, yeah, that can happen too, as you need to like correct a, you know, position, or especially if a figure is precariously, you know, standing or whatever, sometimes you need to be a little creative. And unfortunately, sometimes they don't give you the leg room to fully drill into that leg, so you have to figure out a way to make it stand. It can be tough. And if a sculptor is nice and you're buying an original kit, maybe they'll include a directions sheet that tells you, you know, how to do it. That's always appreciated too. I've definitely gotten instruction sheets in some of my kits because they know that when you get it, there's going to be work involved, and so they just tell you straight up how to do it. Let's see, leg was angled. Yeah, that's hard. That's hard too, yeah, when kits are just not angled well or positioned well, and so your drill struggles. And yeah, that's a really great idea for those large ones, especially I think also like with 3D resin printing and stuff now that you can scale things up a lot. That'd be, you know, a great idea to do supports like that. All right, I'm just still slowly working on the green here, guys. Smoothing it out. Well, there we go. Just stand on her own. That's funny. I'm gonna clean off some of this excess around the cheek. As I've been wiping it down, I've kind of been pulling the enamel up and out onto the cheek so it doesn't fall into the eye. So we gotta make sure to wipe all that down. Also, the light is just really harsh today, so let me see if I can turn this a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's so much more useful. Okay, add a little bit in the corner here. So be very careful. The outline is so thin on the edge of this. Just taking off the slightest bit too much green will show the layer under. So this is where having the really tiny brush comes in handy. Also fuzzy. Oh, there it is. So far we've been able to escape most of the fuzzies that have tried to make our way into the eyes. So that's good. There we go. That's much nicer. Okay. Going to work on this side. Shave it down just a little bit more from the top. This top smoothed out. Oh, a little too much, actually. think I just hit yellow. So it's so noticeable, especially if a bright color underneath when you hit that bottom layer. So there we go. After I'm kind of done with just showing off this, I'll show you guys, and then I'll start working on the inside. Okay, there we go. Alright, so at this point, the outside of the eye, so the outer bit of it is pretty much done, but we do still need to work on the inside. So let's see. You can see the outside is really clean. There's no, green along the eyelids or anything like that, but the yellow does not match up yet. So you can see, this is a really nice, let's see, I gotta like hold it with my alligator clip, get it to focus. There we go. Okay, so you can see that the yellow on here is like a really nice, shape, I guess. But this side, there's still that green in the middle. There's still some funkiness going on. The ring inside that eye is not super well defined yet, so we need to clean all of that up as well. So that will be our next step. But we're starting to see the shape here. So if you cover her face here, you can see that this face, if it peeks out, it's starting to look cute and like something. Also helps that the shadows cast from the eye already kind of give it an additional bit of depth. That's something that's unique to these indented eyes. And doll eyes kind of have that as well, right? So because you have like eyes that pop in the back, and so generally you get a little bit more depth. But yeah, that's nice to not have to do a bunch of crazy stuff on this and already have it look pretty cute. Another like thing that you could do, that I might do actually now that I'm looking at this, is position the darker color in a way that accentuates those shadows. And so this may be hard to explain without it focusing correctly, but if I angle the eye down like this, you can kind of see that there's a darker shadow. Let's see. So you can see there's a darker shadow up here, right? And so there's kind of this natural gradient being formed already by the eye. And so what we could do, there we go, is like basically make a note of where that shadow falls and then paint the darker color on that shadow. And then it will accentuate the shadow even more. Hey, hello Autumn. Yeah, we are basically in the last stages here of working on the eyes and the faceplate. We already kind of finished what we're gonna do mostly tonight on this one. So these two eyes are looking separate, but different but cute in their own different styles. So we'll continue onward with it. Maybe tonight, depends how far we get with this. But for now, I'm gonna continue on the inner side of this eye and try to get these yellow portions to look the same, like what we did with the other one. This one is a little bit harder because it is like, a dome shape, and so I'm like painting inside of a bowl, so it's kind of trying to get the angle right has been a little tricky so far. But we'll see how it goes. Let me get a drink real quick. So yeah, this has been a fun challenge, trying to get the bowl shape to look the same, I guess. It took me a little while to get this eye over here with the yellow how I wanted it, so hopefully the same happens for this one. And we're just gonna work pretty slow with this. I don't really want to take off too much paint at a time. It's a lot harder to add, you know, a lot of green back in compared to taking it out. So when you're working in layers like this, just go slow. I'll be moving the faceplate around a lot to try to make sure that it looks the same. Let's see, do you have to paint the yellow area distorted so it looks right? Yeah, so what I had to do actually is kind of elongate the area. You can see, maybe if it will focus, horrible camera. You can see that, yeah, it's really kind of an uneven, not circular shape. But when viewed from the front, it looks pretty similar to how that other faceplate was painted. But when we turn it, you can see just how indented that yellow really is at these angles. So it's interesting. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure that these faceplates or these eyes are set, you know, at the same area or same kind of width and distance from each other and all of that, and so there's nothing else crazy I have to do to make sure that this all looks good when it's painted. Yeah, it's definitely a different challenge. This is the first time that I have done this, so what you guys are seeing is me, you know, just painting this and seeing how it goes, honestly. Thankfully, this is an original character, so we can just like do something and then say, oh yeah, totally intentional. Yeah, I completely meant to make that yellow bigger than the yellow up there. Just painting. So yeah, don't, you know, don't be afraid to just do whatever you want with an OC. Especially if it doesn't like head the way that you want, there's always things you can do to make up for that. The big thing here is that the yellow for sure touches the ring of her eyes in this inner like sculpted eye part. So what I did for the last eye is I just kind of took out green until I reached that inner ring, and then I worked my way out slowly from there, removing more green until I got the yellow in a shape that I wanted. But the tricky thing is doing that to both eyes, right? So it's fine and good to like paint one eye a certain way, but getting the other one the same way is usually a little tricky. And let's see, when painting eyes, do I like to use enamel paints more than acrylic? These days, definitely, yes. I, you know, kind of grew up painting kits with acrylic eyes, and only, you know, somewhat recently in my kit building career, I guess, switched to enamels. So I've painted acrylic eyes longer than I have enamel eyes, you know, in my total building hobby, but pretty much every single one of my eyes these days is painted with enamel, just because I like the amount of precision it offers when coupled with the lacquer, you know, top coat method. So there's a tiny hair, I think, that worked its way in here. Let me see. Yeah, honestly, what I'm doing right now, to some extent, is what I did, you know, the whole way through with acrylics. You just have less layers when you're working with acrylics. A lot of the blending and stuff happens, like, on the figure, you know, as you're working with it. And you're not going to do layer by layer of lacquer. I guess for acrylics, I would say, you know, make sure you start with a shape and the outline that you want, and then everything else can be kind of blended in. That's a lot of what I did when I, you know, would work on these eyes with acrylics. But same deal, you want to thin your paint, you know, milky consistency, go slow, there's some room for error, you know. can wipe off stuff as long as you have it sealed with water, etc. I will say, like, there's plenty of opportunity for blending color with enamel as well, but I feel like people get slightly better and prettier results by mixing like acrylics on the eyes, you know, as they're going. Here, like a lot of what I do in this method, this enamel painting method, is layer flat color by flat color, right? So there's not really a lot of mixing that happens on the canvas, like the kit eye canvas. You can do that more with acrylics, I think, at least from what I've seen. And I'm more of a fan of the like flat color look, you know, so when the figure is all, excuse me, fully sealed, it looks like, you know, an eye decal or something like that. But there are other tips and tricks you can use to get gradients and stuff. You can airbrush enamels onto your eye and get a nice gradient that way. That's pretty popular. Just depends what you want to do. Let's see, off topic, are you left-handed? Yes. Yeah, I am left-handed. This camera is not reversed or anything. I do hold like stuff kind of weird. Yeah, I grew up doing my own thing here. I hold pencils this way too. Like I know you're supposed to hold them, you know, like this, I guess, or with the bend. No, I just like grip it like monkey grip and go to town. So funny. Also kind of why I like these like thicker brushes, I guess. Hey, yeah, lefties unite. So yeah, like this is a really nice thick handle, I guess, on the brush. It's opposed to like, you know, these thinner ones. I still hold them like this, but I find that it's a lot easier to grip this handle more. Alright, gonna rotate this. We are slowly getting there, but the shape is still totally off. Okay, also gonna take my sponge and very gently try to wipe off some of that. There we go. A lot of this is just visual based, you know. Sometimes I straight up measure, you know, try to measure, see how things are looking, but a lot of it's just like looking at the other eye, looking back at this eye, seeing how different they are, what I need to change, etc. And what I mean by measuring, in the case of this faceplate here, is taking, you know, a Q-tip or something and placing it along your eye and then trying to make sure that they're both the same, both the same width. So, come on. Like that, right? We want the eyes both the same. We want both the eyelashes the same. We want the eyes in the middle like this. So you can position, you know, your tools in a way that will hopefully get the face symmetrical. Yeah, my writing is quite eligible and legible. So I yeah, don't have any complaints. Yeah, although I will say that it's been a while since I've like written things down, you know, like we write letters and stuff, but 95% of the time we're typing now, and so I write like one letter and I'm like, oh, my hand hurts. Like, you know, just not used to writing that much anymore. Even like note taking and stuff is all done, you know, with my computer because I type so much faster than I write. Makes no sense to use my hand for that. Let's see, how long do I find these precision Q-tip sponges last before I have to swap the tip out? It honestly varies. A lot of times I try to use them as long as possible, but if you want the really sharp tip, you're like, it's gonna get dulled after 1 or 2 uses, I would say. But then after that, I kind of use it more for all-purpose stuff. The sharpest point will be the first time that you use it, and then after that, it just, you know, becomes flatter and flatter. Also depends on how, you know, hard you're pressing onto your kit. And if you're wiping it on paper towel, that is also going to, yeah, these are the Tamiya ones. You know, if you're going to be wiping on your kit, you're also pressing, or wiping on paper towel, you're pressing down on it and you're losing that point. So generally I just keep them like around. I have like 1 or 2 that I keep, and then if they get too nasty, I just throw them out. But I do try not to use these Tamiya ones quite as often, except for really fine stuff, because again, they just pull paint right off, and I find that using the brush these days is a lot more delicate way to remove this enamel compared to the Q-tips or the the cotton swabs. I've also had experiences of me just being way too gung-ho with them, and I've actually dug into the previous layer. So, you know, you can lay down top coat and get your gloss and have it all nice and smooth, but physical force will still, like, these are still delicate, right? And so a lot of physical force will dig into that layer, and I've hit, like, you know, I've hit the yellow before, I guess I would say, not in this kit but in other kits, and then that kind of messes up how smooth the eye looks in the end, so you gotta be real careful. The blue handle. Oh, this one. So this is a Gaia Notes sponge, sponge tip. This is an Tamiya product. This one, I'm still kind of getting used to figuring it out. I've only replaced this sponge handle once, but it still has a really nice sharper point, and it absorbs liquid really well, and I haven't had any reason to switch out it too much. They don't give you too many of these extra ones in the package, so when you buy the package you get, you know, this kind of purpley blue handle, and it comes with, I don't know, maybe like 10-12 of these sponges. And oh, sorry, yeah, this is a Gaia Notes one. Maybe Tamiya makes it, I haven't seen it, but yeah, I got like maybe 10 or 12 of these sponges, so I'm trying to ration them and use them as much as possible before switching out to a new one. I found that it's not like depositing other color on it, so despite how, you know, kind of dirty it looks, it's not depositing other colors onto this kit. So if it does that, that's like clearly a chance where I'll need to switch it out, but until then I'll probably just keep it around for general wipe up stuff. I'm not using this one either for really fine precision lines, it's more for cleaning up after I've made a mess with my brush. Okay, we're getting there with this one. I think I'm going to start working on the ring around the eye, and then that way, once that is like fully done, I'll have a clear idea of how much larger I need to make this yellow. This left side does need to be extended out a little bit though. Very hard to explain what I'm saying until you guys like see it in the end. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna work on the inner ring now. All of these like lo-fi beats are reminding me of Samurai Champloo music. It's kind of an old anime at this point, but all the Nujabe and stuff like that. I'm sure if I just put that on, it would also get marked and I'd be muted, so unfortunately cannot listen. Oh, that's looking cute. Can kind of see the shape forming on the camera there. I will say, for 50 cents, this this tester's paint is acting pretty good here. There's stuff so hit and miss, but so far I'm not having any issues wiping this off, and it went on pretty smooth. And the coverage was really great, so that's already more than I can ask for. I've had so many bottles of theirs that are just like nasty, goopy messes, but this one has been great so far. I think it's mostly as their paints age, they start to have issues. So if you can get like a nice newer bottle, you won't have that problem. But almost all the ones that I let sit for a long time have had a lot of nasty issues with the components separating stuff. So this must be a new one. And let's see. Did you... Yes, new job base. Did you mention making your own water slide decals? Yes, I did mention that. I can pull out some paper if you want me to kind of demonstrate it real quickly. And oh my god, Autumn, if they did that, I would probably buy it in a hot second. Yeah, that's, I completely forgot. Like, yeah, not Garage Kids, Good Smile Company has been hardcore on the nostalgia train recently. Feel like it's pretty much millennials making figures for millennials at this point, because a lot of these old shonens and series and like Enma I Hellgirl Nendo, oh my god, like what decade is it? Absolute wildness. I'm like blown away by all the nostalgic stuff coming out now, and it's very, very, very hard not to hit the pre-order button on all of it. And so I'm like having an issue where I'm like, just how nostalgic is this shit to me? How important is it to my youth? One like Hamtaro Nendo, I didn't even think about it. I ordered it right away. Like, that's a no-brainer for me. I don't even collect Nendos anymore, but that one's a must-have. A lot of Rose and Maiden figures coming out. Yes, those I'm also going to order. I missed the Suiginto Nendo when it came out, so I'm really hoping that they re-release that one. They made Champloo figures. Yeah, I would buy that in 2 seconds as well. Particularly Fu. Fu was like the first cosplay I ever did. I guess not ever, but like the first one I went out of my way to do. And I just love her. Also painted a very old kit of her long, long ago. It's one of those kits that got me into the hobby. Okay, not sure if your yes is to decals or yes is to Samurai Champloo. Yes, definitely get the Hamtaro too. He's very, very cute. He comes with so many like little tiny extra things, and I already like almost got 2 of them, but then I was like, I'm not gonna do that for sure. Yeah, not that desperate. I can live with 1. What else would I buy in like a minute? Yeah, I don't know. A lot of what I would buy is probably old game, characters, but a lot of those are bound by licenses, unfortunately. So I'm kind of locked into anime stuff. I don't think Cowboy Bebop has Nendos yet, does it? Not that I remember. I know Kotobukiya has those scales. And where's my Winry Rock Bell Nendo? That's what I'm asking for. Like, honestly. Why and how doesn't she have a Nendo yet? Makes me angry. She deserves way better than that. Okay, yes to decals. Let me grab the paper real quick because it's like sitting in my closet. It will be like 1 second. Okay. So, I think either last stream or one stream ago, I talked about water slide decals briefly. I think in the context of if I use them on my figurine eyes, which I do not. I hand paint clearly almost all of my eyes. But I have used decals on a number of occasions as well as printed my own. And luckily, printing your own decals is super easy. All you really need is a dedicated decal paper. So I bought this off of Amazon. It's kind of, let me see. There you go. I bought this off of Amazon. This is a literally water slide decal paper. Note that it says transparent. That means that when you place that decal onto your figure or your base or whatever, all of the area around your decal that you didn't print on will go on clear. Does that make sense? So like if I cut out water on the decal paper, and then, you know, got the decal and put it off, only the water part would be visible, like only the water text. There's also decal paper that says white on it, and that means if you cut out, you know, water and put it on the decal, or put it on wherever you needed to, it would say all the water text, but it would also have this white, you know, border where you cut out. So I generally go with transparent. Because you don't really want it to like any white background to show up. A lot of time you're putting this on an acrylic base or, you know, on eyes or something like that, and so you want to cut it, you know, as close to form as possible and then have the surrounding area be transparent. So I think, let me see, there are instructions that come with this kit that will pretty much say it. Yeah, so all you'll need to do is print out your decal. They recommend using an inkjet printer, but I have used laser before. You just have to really fine tune your settings to make it print slow, because otherwise it's like the ink is gonna bleed all out on it. And then you will spray it with a acrylic gloss spray. So generally I use Krylon or, you know, some art hobby brand. I don't really use any of the fancy stuff like Mr. Color stuff or Mr. Hobby stuff or the Tamiya cans. Just use like a general craft acrylic clear coat, top coat. And then, yeah, after that you'll just cut out your decal. You'll apply it like a normal decal. There are videos on YouTube. I follow basically this one pretty religiously. It's just like this guy putting like a bumper sticker or something on a car, and then yeah, so you'll let it slide off and then you can add it on to stuff. And so it's a really easy process and way to, you know, add things or make your base unique. I use it pretty often when it comes to like wanting to make an easy base. I have never used it for eyes or anything like that. Yeah, it's definitely super easy, very beginner friendly. All you really need is, yeah, the paper, scissors, water, and like a gloss can of clear coat, and then that's it. So highly recommend it if you're looking to do something, you know, that involves a base. And yeah, try it out. It's really interesting. I think that paper was only like 15 bucks on Amazon, or maybe even less than that, but you get 20 sheets, which is crazy. And actually, like next time I think I would buy smaller paper, because I found that a lot of times I'm printing these decals and I need just like, you know, this much or like a tiny logo or something, and a lot of paper gets wasted if you're, you know, printing it out on that big of a sheet. So maybe if you can, buy a smaller sheet, not an A4 size. But other than that, yeah, highly recommended. They are, so like after you would put a decal on your figure, it is recommended to let it sit for a while, make sure the decal airs out, you know, and is nice and, you know, set, and then you can top coat it as needed. So sometimes I leave them as is. If it comes to like eyes or characters, then I will gloss it, but just depends on what you're trying to do. Okay. So I pretty much wiped out the ring area around her eye, and I'm gonna go in and try to fix some of this yellow again. Let's see. Show you guys an update. So you can see it's pretty close at this point. What I'm doing now is just like fine tuning this eye over here, because this shape is not, you know, perfectly how I want it. So that's the only struggle, is making the eye the right size to fit on the figure. Yeah, so that is something to be aware of if you're printing decals as well. If you have any sort of photo editing program, I highly recommend that you make a new file at like 300 dpi. Like the standard, and when you open up a file is like 72 or something small. The higher your DPI, the like bigger your file size is gonna be, but you're gonna get a nicer print if you print with a higher DPI. So for that inkjet paper, I start a new file, I you know, open it up at 300 DPI at, you know, 8.5 by 11 inch or whatever size A4 you want. And then after that, you can, you know, manipulate the decal size or make it as big or as small as you want. So there is some measuring that needs to happen a lot of times. Like if I have a base, a circular base, you know, like so, my camera thing, I'll usually measure, you know, what size I want the decal, and then that way I know clearly what size I want it to be. But eyes and that kind of thing, those are a lot tougher, right? So you'll probably need to print out a bunch of sizes and kind of manipulate things until you get the, you know, exact proportions that you want. So I have a lot of respect for sculptors too that include, you know, decals in their figure, because that does take some additional work. Okay. Alright, where are we at on this? I think just need to wipe out more in that center. That's what's throwing me off here. I'm trying to get this nice, you know, circular shape, but on this side, there's still green on this ring. Okay, I'm gonna grab my Q-tip here and see, wipe out some of that. There we go. It's just pretty jammed in, like underneath the ring on her eye, so I need a little bit of force to remove it. Okay, now this shape is all messed up, so there's some weirdness happening here. It's like more like a triangle right now, so there we go. That's much better. Yeah, this indent is like really throwing things off. You gotta look at it from so many angles. There we go. That's getting pretty close. Okay. Let's see. Because they are like curved, you can really see if you have any angular lines going on in this. Okay, that looks pretty close. But I think I can fix it a little bit more on this side. Like from looking at it from the top down, it looks fine, but looking at it from the front is a little bit different. So interesting. Something still feels off here. Okay. I think I might need to add a little bit more green. I had this problem with the other eye too, where I took off too much and then it wasn't really as rounded of a shape as I wanted. So let's see. Set down a little bit more color on this, but I'm definitely gonna have to wait till this dries to work with it. Make sure everything is off in that ring. So what I did before was take my swab and push it around the ring, make sure everything's off. Hmm. Oh, sorry, Autumn. I just saw your question. When are you starting grad school and what am I studying? I do not mind answering that. So I start grad school in August. For those of you unfamiliar or unaware, I have stopped accepting commissions on figures because I was accepted into graduate school. This is something that I've been really wanting to do for many years now, but I wanted to get a couple years like working before I went back to school. I will be going into public health. So my main job and career is definitely STEM related, the S particularly. I was a manager in a soil physics slash hydrology laboratory. So we did a lot of physical and hydraulic analysis on mine samples. But I've decided to switch my kind of career path into something more public health oriented. So I'll be focusing in environmental health. It kind of encompasses a lot of different things, whether it's air pollution and water quality, disease control, very relevant in today's society. Environmental justice, so disparities between minorities and white people in terms of the protection that they get, where they are geographically, the type of access to resources and materials and programs and networks that they have. All of these things are, at least here in America, really important. And so a lot of what this program will offer is insight on why and how this stuff occurs, what I can do or what anyone in this field can do to help not make the earth so polluted and all sorts of things. So it's a big program. I haven't fully decided what I want to particularly specialize in, because there's a lot of different things. There's toxicology, epidemiology, all sorts of stuff. So right now, like going in, I'm taking most of the standard classes, but I'm also taking a food safety and toxicology class, which I'm really interested about learning more of, and it all kind of pertains to how we can make our environment and world safer. So I find it's really interesting, definitely different from what I have been doing for most of my undergraduate slash, career. But hopefully, I'll enjoy it and be able to move forward. That always tends to surprise people that I come from a very scientific background, and yet I'm like, building stuff like this. I have no formal art education pretty much other than high school classes and the mandatory like credits that you take in college for your electives and stuff. But yeah, majority of what my focus in and I specialize in is actually like soil physics and hydrology and mining. But yeah, it's gonna get very busy starting in August. So part of why I started these streams and getting myself on a schedule is because I anticipate when school starts, I'm gonna be like really crazy busy, and so I still want to dedicate a portion of my time to kits because I do enjoy building figures. I enjoy decompressing and working on art stuff, and so that will give me a dedicated time slot to not put it off, because they'll be like, oh, well, I gotta go write this paper instead, but I have this ingrained in my schedule, so there's no getting around it at this point. Yes, that's exactly why I like spoons and the non-degradable materials that these spoons are made of. We need biodegradable plastic spoons. Those words do not work together, but gotta happen. Make my life much easier. So much waste in everything that we do. even this hobby, just so much waste. And that's why I like using metal cups instead of, you know, plastic cups is more helpful. There's lots of things you can do to try to minimize your waste. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Like, oh wait, let me read this comment. Thanks for the stream. Yay, good night, Raider. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to catch us next time. I will be, you know, wrapping this up and doing other stuff on it. So hope you can see us on Monday. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, my former boss actually built Gundams. Like he used to really like building Gundams, and so he was always interested in what I was doing in my current work at the time. So I thought that was pretty funny. Always good when you're able to like bond with someone over something that's not work. A lot of nerdy people in like hydrology slash, you know, and earth sciences, I think, because I know a couple other people that are into like kits and stuff, and they're also builders as well and painters. So I think a lot of it's just like, you know, we spend most of our time analyzing data and looking at stuff, and we just need a release, an artistic release. All right, we're looking good, but I'm still not happy with this shape. Sorry guys. Still really want to get these looking the same, but it's not yet. And let's see what's happening here. Especially for a curve like this, you want to make sure that the peak of the curve is right where that ring of the eye starts. And so if that's off by any means, then the whole curve is going to be off. So I just wiped down a bunch of the yellow that was, or sorry, the green that was right at that peak of the curve, and I'm going to work my way out. Tiny bit more on this side. There's a little bit of an offset, I think, due to the position of this eye, so gotta take off a little bit more yellow on this side. Sorry, green. I keep saying yellow because it's like I'm staring at the yellow. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I think we're getting somewhere. I'm gonna smooth this out a bit. That's very close. There's a little bit here I want to push out. There we go. That's looking really good. Okay, let me clean this up real quick, and then I will look at it with the assistance of my magnifying. It's very interesting. I think due to the curve of these, like, It's just really interesting. It's hard to explain. Like, it's definitely not a perfect cylinder like shape at all, but moving the face just slightly changes the look of it entirely. So here's where we're at. Let's see. You can see the shape is pretty much where I wanted at this point. I might take a look at it later, but moving it up and down like really changes how that yellow looks. Let's see if I can get it to look different here. So here's from the side, and you can see as I turn it, that yellow really starts to become apparent. Turning it this way, you can see the yellow. Also, one thing to note is that if you're looking at this face straight on, and let's see if I can point to it. Might be hard with the light. I think, let's see what it would do before we turn the light. Yeah. So the green on the inner corners here is not quite as pronounced as the green on the outer corners, right? And so getting those even has been a little bit of a challenge because you want them to look the same. Light's really harsh, but let's see. And then the shadows cast are just like so deep. And when the hair goes on, you know, it's even more so. But from far away, it looks pretty cool. There we go. Turning it. Just checking how it looks in the camera as well as in person. It's going to be really interesting seeing what color I want that center ring to be, because you can see if it's a really bright color, that's really going to make those eyes stand out right now. It's a little bit subdued right now. The yellow really helps bring it out. I think what I might do, at least what I did in that draft, is paint the center ring a really bright yellow. I tried doing a darker color and it wasn't looking good with the eyelash color that we have right now. So I'm gonna leave this as is for now. I'll take a look later and see if I want to clean this up at all. Also, conveniently, we have hit almost 10 p.m. But I'm gonna go a little bit longer today just because I want to start working on those shoes some more. So for those of you who have to head out at 10, thank you for joining me until this point. And I hope you have a great night. But we're gonna go a little bit longer. I think that will be it for the eyes tonight though. So we basically got our layer on for the green. And the next step will be to top coat that green with the gloss, and then we will go from there. What I will probably do is go ahead and continue work on this over the weekend, or not over the weekend. Actually, when will I have free time? I've got a very busy lineup this weekend, but I'll try to get a layer or two in so we're not just like endlessly painting eyes. It's been kind of slow going so far, mostly because I'm in the process of transitioning, right? So like I finished up a commission and I've been getting that out the door while trying to get this going and then working on another one simultaneously. So usually I'm not juggling like 3 kits at once. So now that the commission is done, like I'll be able to get this painting out of the way while working on the other one. So I will work on getting the next layer of eyes done over the weekend, and so that way you guys will probably see that darker green gradient. Then up to that, I don't know. Again, I'm doing this trial by fire. I have no idea. Thank you. Yeah, we're getting there, Autumn. It's always slow going, getting these eye details, you know, down to where I want them. But I think that so far she's looking pretty cute. She looks very cute from like 2 feet away, and so that's really all that matters, right? You're not gonna be like looking at it. Well, I look at it up close in my detail, but you guys are not gonna see it, so it will be fine. Anyway, we're gonna continue on these shoes. I did do a bunch of work on them earlier, so they're at this point, like there's some areas that need clean up on the shoes, mostly around the heel area because it was pretty uneven. As a reference, let me pull out what it looked like before phone call. What the hell? Spam. I get so many spam calls these days. It's ridiculous. Okay, so here's a quick view of what her feet looked like. So you can see there's these kind of jagged edges here. And so we filled in these details with enamel, and right now I just need to finish smoothing them out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do most of the rest of that. See how long it takes. Same process as you know, the eyes. We're just following a curve and removing any enamel that we don't want on this white area. You'll also notice these shoes are really nice and glossed up. They're a little bit not quite as shiny now because I've been touching them a lot, but we put that nice red pearl on these shoes as well. So they will match her apron once we are finished. Unfortunately, there was only so much cleanliness and detail I could, you know, keep on this because this piece was pretty rough. We had so many bubbles we filled in on it. The cast is like kind of hard to work with because these feet are basically glued together. So it's a little bit rougher than I would like, but this is a tutorial slash, you know, private kit. It's not going anywhere, so I don't really mind. After these shoes are done, that's pretty much it besides the eyes. So we are very rapidly approaching the end of this figure. And I would estimate that in terms of the layers remaining for the eyes, probably like 2 or 3 layers, probably, maybe I'd say 3 or 4 layers left. So one of them I'd do over the weekend, and then, you know, we go from there. Just kind of depends how detailed I want to get. So I want that darker green on, and then after that I'm not sure if I'll add any other accents on the eyes besides the sparkle. She's always got to have eye sparkle, but maybe not in the ring one. I don't know what I'll do in the ring one. Okay, I'm gonna use this. You can see I say I don't know a lot because when it comes to these original characters, I just do whatever. And let's see, why a red pearl versus purple pearl to match? One, because I don't own any purple pearl. So it's like a, you know, I'm just gonna do whatever. 2, I felt that the the red pearls would go a little bit better with her hair color. So her hair actually has a gold pearl on top of it. I'm not sure if you can see in this light. It casts off kind of a slight yellow glow, but I felt that the red pearl kind of went well with it. And we are working, you know, mostly in a warm color scheme on this kit. And by putting on these red pearls on top of that purple, we essentially like warmed up that piece. So I guess that was my reasoning for it, mostly because I just wanted a kind of a reddish tint on top of it. We could definitely have just left it being purple and it still would have worked fine because orange and green are also, you know, secondary colors. So really what we're doing here, and what I'm trying to do, is be harmonious in my color schemes. And so you may or may not have noticed pretty much every color that I picked, at least this time, whether intentionally or not, must be subtle because I just realized this. We used orange, we used purple, and we used green. And so if you go on a color wheel, you'll find that all 3 of these are secondary colors, and they oppose each other on the color wheel. So let me link it up real quick. Just a very quick, let's see if I can get a prettier one. Okay, I'll read your message just a second, Autumn. Okay, this is a kind of a gross link. Hopefully it works, but this is a basic color wheel. So if you click that, it opens up to a basic color wheel, and you will see that orange and green and purple are all in between those regular primary colors. So the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Secondary colors are orange, green, and purple. So all of those are very harmonious together. Whether intentionally or not, I ended up using green eyes, so it just ended up working out that way. But that's probably why they look so good together. That has nothing to do with your red pearl question. Sorry, I just literally noticed this, so I had to point it out. And let's see, I just remembered you made a short PowerPoint on how it'd be possible to use Nendos as a therapeutic tool for therapy. Yeah, send that to me in Discord. That actually sounds really interesting, and I would like to see it just out of curiosity. I'm always down for like using figures in interesting ways. I think that sounds really interesting. Even if I don't understand it, that's fine. You know, I'm sure there are more clinical terms that I'm familiar with because it's not really my specialty, but still very interested. Nendos are great. The worst thing about them is changing all their parts out though. Like that's kind of why I stopped collecting Nendos, is just because I had so many and they became so tedious. Like I got overwhelmed with like, oh my gosh, I want to change all my Nendos, and it would take me half the day. And then also a lot of the parts like tend to fall off for these more recent ones. Maybe it's just me not handling it well, but a lot of the recent Nendos I bought, they're kind of more flimsy, so I just get frustrated with them. So a lot of times I like I don't know, set them up once and then that's it. I don't even take the parts out of the box now, guys. I'm so lazy. I literally take it out, like I get the Nendo in from AmiAmi or wherever, I open it up, I like pick out the faceplate I want to use that's super cute, that I like the most, even if the other ones are cute too, and then set it in my detolf, and it sits there for months. Don't change it at all. I'm not a like person that poses action figures. I don't pose my Nendos at all. They're fantastic for like figure photo photography, and all of that, but I just don't have the patience to do that anymore. So I don't buy Nendos anymore unless they're like really truly a series that I am nostalgic for, and then they just sit. And very few make it into my cabinets, and even fewer make it up into this room. It's this is like the room for kits, and then some of my most favorite ones. So I think the only Nendo I have in here is Yotsuba from Yotsubato, because she is the cutie. She was like my holy grail Nendo. Could not believe when they made a Nendo of her, and now I can't believe they're making it with Hamtaro. So those are like, those two are my must-haves. Okay. Really, I'm pretty happy with a lot of the work that I did on this already. These shoes are looking pretty clean at this point. But I am going to go and kind of wipe down some of the purple that I just had lingering along the top here. Very difficult to show this too. These are looking much smoother though. You can see the heels are pretty darn cute. But I mostly wanted to wait till I finished the enamel on these before I went in and top coated them, and then added just a little bit more red pearl to try to blend everything in. Because we did finish up that Maid apron, but I haven't done anything else with that because I wanted to wait until these shoes were done. And I remember that inside had some issue. Let's see. Oh, there was one other thing, so I forgot. We will need to add some gold on the ends here or something. I haven't really fully decided yet. But she's got these buckles. Oh my gosh, camera, what are you doing? There she is. She's got these buckles on the back of her shoes here. And I haven't fully decided what color I want to paint them, but I think I'm going to go with gold just because I like using gold, and a lot of this kit is yellowy and goldish anyways, and orangish, so why not continue that color and do that. Also, I need to thin a little bit more. Back to the topic of like color theory and colors though, definitely recommend learning more about it if you are interested in figure building. It has been immensely helpful in helping me learn how to mix colors and finding out, what works well with what. It is not something I ever really formally learned in school besides the, standard color wheel stuff. But there's all sorts of crazy stuff you can do with it. And then it ends up being, magnified even more if you learn how to real time mix those colors as you're airbrushing. So, adding a purple into your yellow hair will cool down that hair color and make it more of like an ashy, cool blonde. That's just one example of what you can do with it. Layering colors is infinitely possible. Putting on a clear purple on top of some other thing will maybe turn it brown. There's all sorts of crazy stuff you can do. So I, don't have any books or references I really follow other than some like rando stuff that I picked up. But if you have a chance, I recommend either experimenting with your own colors or taking a course in color theory if you have the option. So many free online resources these days. Also, how to use light, that also kind of goes into photography, but light is also really important in how you view your kits. So like in this case, we recommend using a really like clear daylight white light as opposed to like a yellow fluorescent bulb. That's very much not recommended to use, yellow fluorescent bulbs when you're working on your paint and stuff like that, because that alters your perception of the color. So working in daylight or working under a white light, that will all help you get the more accurate color, I guess. Really want those nice bright colors. You don't want them cast yellow or altered in any way. Anywhere in like 5,500 Kelvin white, like a cool white, is recommended. Okay, I'm just fixing up a few areas. It's just kind of rough in this portion. Not really too much I can do, honestly. The old color at this point. You can see we've just kind of been eating away at it slowly and adding purple into everything as needed. This is also why I kind of mix a lot of colors and just, let it sit on the side. That way if I need to come back to it and use it, I can just reactivate that enamel and it's no problem. A lot of times I just keep those cups full of the paint until I've got that figure completely built and assembled, because you never know when you're assembling it if something will chip, if you'll accidentally scratch your kit, and so having that enamel right on hand to repair that is so helpful. Really recommend just buying a whole pack of these metal cups. They're only like $1.50 or something crazy. Mr. Color or Mr. Hobby makes these packs of them. I use them way more than I thought I would ever since starting enamels. So little stuff that you pick up that you end up finding is really, really useful. Also, how I feel about that sponge. Just never thought I'd need it, and then it's so handy. And my cutting board thingy for tape, like that's another one. There's just so much stuff to buy in this hobby. All of it's optional, but a lot of it will make your building experience more pleasant. But you really won't know until you start building and figure out kind of how you build before getting all the crazy stuff. Okay, there's like a tiny bit here that I don't know what's happening. I might have to go in and wipe that area over with white. Or just leave it, because I'm feeling lazy. Okay. This is a really, really tough area, and right inside the corner here. I don't even think I can reach that. I would need a longer bristled brush. Let's see. That might even be lacquer. Okay. At this point, I'm just kind of fixing these details that realistically no one's gonna care about but me. There's like a bit of purple here. Oh, can't even reach this. Okay. Nope, I don't think I can get that. Okay, there's some degree of craziness that I'm just gonna have to stop at. And that was it. So, let me look at this up close. There's a couple tiny streaks, but nothing too crazy. And, oh yeah, that did remind me. A long while back at this point, we kind of fixed up this area with some white paint that got scratched from my tweezers. But I added kind of a glob of white enamel in here and then just let it sit. I'm gonna wipe down that area. There we go. What's going on here? Okay. There is one tiny area. There's like a big line in the middle, so let's see. I can't build, I just pay. I just saw your comment. I don't even know in what context that was like referring to at this point. I'm sorry, Autumn. I've been ranting for a while now. Okay, I'm gonna use this mixing cup. I kind of have some random stuff on this one, but I'm just gonna put a tiny bit of white on here. I have a free brush. Where did my red one go? I've got this one. I've got this one. Where'd my red one go? Interesting. Oh, building your own kit. Yeah, definitely that would be the #1 barrier. It's like whether or not you actually build. Totally understandable. Yeah, the cost investment just to get into this hobby is already not something to scoff at. So I, always urge everybody to get into this if they want to, but don't ever want to pressure people to get into it either, because it is quite expensive, the startup costs, whether you're hand painting or airbrushing. Not to mention all of the, optional quote unquote supplies. Then you gotta factor in the figure too, which, can be as cheap or as expensive as you want, depending on what you're looking to get. That's a lot of things that shy away people, is not only do you have to buy all of the supplies, but you also have to have the actual kit, and the kits themselves can get expensive. So, okay, I think I'm pretty pleased with this, honestly. Like, I think this is about as good as it's gonna get in terms of how these feet look. The color actually blended in really well, that purple. So if I didn't know any better, you know, I'd just say it's like an accent color that's making the inside stand out. Probably not even going to be noticeable enough on here, but you can see that, you know, all of it looks pretty smooth at this point. So that's good. That's what we want, is these nice clean looking shoes. Let me go ahead and put her on the acrylic base so you can see what it looks like with the shoes just sitting in. Yeah, skills as well. A lot of people shy away from doing this because they are scared about painting eyes, or they're scared about, you know, working on kits in general, messing something up. All I can say to that is it will happen no matter what. So you might as well just go for it. I can't even begin to count the number of times I've like messed up on a kit, needed to scratch a paint on a kit, messed up putty work, yada yada yada. It's just every single kit is a building experience, so that's what makes it fun though. Alright, so I'm just gonna push this. There we go. You can see the shoes will fit in pretty nicely on this acrylic base. This does have a plastic or a paper cover on it right now, which is why it looks, you know, brown. It will not be brown once we take off this paper. This is an acrylic disc, so it'll be totally clear. But yeah, the shoes are looking really cute. You know, the side profile is looking nice. That's really what we want to see, is pretty smooth. So cannot complain about that. I think with that, she's pretty much ready for that pearl coating. Let me actually take a quick wipe at this. It was not perfectly smooth here. And a tiny bit of black here. There we go. Okay, that's a little better. Sorry, I was like looking at the camera and then looked at the kit and I saw a tiny line that I wasn't happy with. So, and actually I see that here too. The more you look, the more problems you're gonna see. And also it's helpful to set it on something sometimes, because then you can wipe away. Or you can see it from a different context and then work on it from there. Yeah, that looks a lot better now. Yeah, so I think that is pretty much where I'm going to wrap up tonight. Where are we at? We've got the faces about, I'd say the faces are about halfway done at this point. We've got a couple more layers on them, but then after that, they're just going to be wrapped up. And then all of this will be wrapped up kind of off camera. So all we'll have left after that is just the stuff on the base. So there is something little minor thing I want to do to the base. I found a technique that I really wanted to try that I think would be fun in the middle of, you know, streaming. So we'll do all that together and it will be really quick. And then that's it. She'll be flat coated. So we got to put a matte top coat on, and I guess we could probably assemble her on stream. And then that's it. That's the kit. So I hope you guys are ready for the wrap up within the next couple of weeks. I would say probably, yeah, within the next 2 weeks or so, she'll be done. I do also want to point out that I'll reiterate this, but I will be gone during the third week of June. So the 21st and the 23rd would usually be our stream times. I will not be streaming during those times. I'm going on a little vacation for the first time in like over a year to see some family and friends, now that COVID is kind of winding down and most people are vaccinated. So I will talk more about that later as we get closer, but I don't think that will impact the having this kit finished. I think she'll be done before then, in all honesty. So, but that'll be great actually. We can finish up this kit, have kind of a refresher break, and then, you know, go into something new. So I'm excited to do that. So I think that's it. Here are the things that we finished tonight. I am going to actually, I think we have enough people for a raid. I think I forgot to do that last time. So let's transition into that. Let me take a look at what's going on. Before I pawn you guys over onto somebody else, I will say our next stream is on Monday, June 7th at 8 p.m. So still working on that Monday, Wednesday schedule. And with that, let me take a look and see what's happening in this category. We've got a lot of Dum builds happening tonight. Not sure if you guys are interested in that. Oh, this looks interesting. I will open that up. And, oh, an airbrusher. Okay, I'll open that up too. I don't know what's happening on that guy's bench. Oh. And this one. There's a lot of ads. Okay, so I think this one will be fun. Unfortunately, I don't see any Garage Kit streams. Have a good night, Fries. Just saw it. I don't see any Garage Kit streams, but I do see a painting stream. So, or minis. It's always minis. Actually, I lied. Mini figures. Yeah, have a good night, you guys. You don't have to read. I actually may decide not to. I'm not seeing anything that I like here tonight. Is that acceptable if I don't decide to read? Like, I just don't see anything that I think will be relevant to our stream. So I think I'm just gonna end it. Hopefully next time there's some more content that I will pawn you guys off onto someone else. So have a great night. Talk to you guys on Monday. See you later. Bye bye.